It took years of therapy for James to finally no longer have emotional breakdowns, to finally feel more normal again. But unfortunately, all that changed. All that changed May 27th of 2014, when a stranger came to our door claiming to be maintenance. We had not been told who the owners were. We did not know what they looked like or their names. All we were given was a business name and an address to send rent to. All we knew was Paul. We don't even know his last name. The property manager. And Paul is just the property manager of Amy Apartments. He is not the owner. On May 27th, a stranger showed up claiming to be maintenance, claiming to need to look at our air conditioner, which was fine. And we questioned who he was. And he turns around and claims to be the owner and threatens to evict us. It was this threat of eviction which caused James to go back to having emotional breakdowns. He had an emotional breakdown on that day, thinking that we would be evicted just for not letting this guy in. This guy, by doing so, by threatening us, by trying to gain access through threats, had violated the Landlord-Tenant Act, which prevents such things. Dan Dorco and others have violated our rights many times. But this first time that we encountered him caused James to have more and new emotional breakdowns, which still continue to this day. It took years of therapy that I did to get his emotional breakdowns under control, so that he didn't have them anymore, so he didn't need medication. It took Dan Dorco's presence, his threat, to start them up again. But the original cause is always going to be Sergeant Harold Jones, Officer Michael Brewer, and that mystery woman who interrogated him in our apartment. While the other breakdowns that I have recorded are just audio because they were recorded through my old cell phone, which did not have phone capabilities or camera capabilities. I do have a vid of this new breakdown. So not only will you be able to hear him break down, you'll be able to see his face and body contort in agony and torture. This is what has happened every time he's had an emotional breakdown. This has happened every time he has had an emotional breakdown, from the very beginning. The very first emotional breakdown, which I have on audio tape, and I will try to record to CD, the emotional breakdown was so bad that his body literally locked up. Muscles tightened, would not move. He could not even open his eyes. That first breakdown was probably the worst because it was unexpected, and it was certainly not a reaction that he would normally have done otherwise. It was the interrogation by Sergeant Harold Jones that caused it. Damn, I gotta move the phone. Other arm was starting to tire. The first emotional breakdown. I mean, he dropped to his knees right in front of me. Sorry, it still hurts remembering it. He dropped to his knees and cried out, "I did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. Why are they doing this?" I was shocked to hear him say that. Luckily, I had the presence of mind to record it on audio tape. After a while of talking to him, after a while of him breaking down, he all of a sudden went silent and tipped over onto his side. I had no idea what happened. I had called the police prior to this, during the emotional breakdown, to show the chief what his officers had done to my roommate. It was during that first emotional breakdown that my roommate told me that he did not want to live. So I called the chief to tell him that my roommate wanted to kill himself because of his officers, and I wanted to lodge that complaint. I never got a response from him. Never. He ignored my calls. He ignored my calls of a complaint. But 4 officers showed up claiming to be there to help. 3 watched me while only 1 went to take a look at James. They did things that I have seen later on were suspicious. But James had to be carried out by 4 people on a rubber tarp because they could not move him any other way. They could not stretch him out. They could not move his body at all. I called the chief. I called the chief of police 3 different times that day to complain. I even named Hi, puppy. I even named the officers. I even named the officers at the time that I knew at the time were involved. Sergeant Harold Jones, Officer Michael Sullivan, and Officer David Schmidt. All 3 were ignored, but those 4 officers showing up told me. Those 4 officers showing up showed me that he had gotten that call. But he ignored my desire to complain. This chief at the time was Mark Reese, not their current one. So I will not hold him responsible entirely for that, but he is responsible for their actions now, and I believe he has knowledge of this event. So, the original emotional breakdowns were caused by Sergeant Harold Jones. These new breakdowns, while still being connected to Sergeant Harold Jones, started up because of Dan Dorco's threat to evict us. But in the next vid, you'll be able to see James. You'll be able to see his face and hear him. I hope that anyone who sees this and cares will do something about it. Will write to Mayor Bill Flote, F-L-A-U-T-E, and the Riverside City Council, and anyone else, and complain. Because this could happen to your family. A lot can be done to your family by police, and they can get away with it. And apartment owners can get away with doing whatever they want to you as well. So please watch these vids, listen to his emotional breakdowns, watch his emotional breakdowns. Please help. Okay, thank you.